All right, solutions to the review assignment number 1. You should have a separate piece of paper, notebook, write down the title, write down the question, show your work, and answer it. Even though it's multiple choice, you're not just going to write down the answers A. All right. You need to try this first, and then me. So if you're taking a moment to think, you should think, how do I integrate this? You think, okay, you add 1 to the exponent and divide. You add 1 to the exponent and divide from 1 to 2. All right, I can do that. Do I go plus C? No, there's limits or bounds. So I'm going to simplify this. So it's just x to the 4th minus 3x squared. And I'm doing that because I still have another step to do. So I'm going to plug in 2. No calculator. Subtract, plug in 1. And then do I have the ability to simplify this? So 2 to the 4, 2 squared times 3. 1 take away 2 is negative 2, so a negative and negative, right? So I got 18 take away 12, so I get 6. And when I looked at that answer then is C. Number 2. I want to take the derivative. So please write it down and you do it first. You can see it's x times something. You know it's the product rule. You know to write this calculus friendly, right? You're not learning if you don't try first. We're doing this so you can get stronger. You can pass the exam. You know your calculus. All right. Write down what you're doing. The first times the derivative of the second. There's a hook. So make sure we multiply, subtract 1, and there's a hook, plus the second times the derivative of the first, which is 1. So I don't need to go times 1. I'm going to simplify it because there's no answer that matches this yet. So 2 times a half is just 1. So I have x. I have the square root of So I have x on the top. This is the square root on the bottom. All my answers have like square root in it, so I'm going to go back to algebra form. Plus. Now, when I look at the answer choices, all of them are one fraction. So I need to hit common denominators, and I'm going to multiply by the square root of 2x subtract 3, top and bottom. This will create common denominators. Now, the good news, the square root and the square root cross out. So that's just 2x minus 3. Oops. X plus 2x minus 3. So they multiply, the square roots cross out. It's just 2x minus 3. The denominator is the square root of 2x minus 3. Combine like terms, and I get 3x subtract 3. Then hope there's an answer that looks like that. Oh, I see it. And the answer is A. All right, number 3. I don't see number 3. It says number 5, so I'm just going to say what number it says. Number 5. We have y equals 3x to the 4th. This is actually taken from a prior AP exam from the 90s. It's okay. Calculus hasn't changed from the 90s. And the question is, the graph is concave down for what reason? So concavity, concave down. You're going to try it first, right? So it's actually the second derivative. So the first derivative. That's 12. That's what? 48. No calculator. 24 and 0. Again, second derivative. 36. 96, 24, I got it, equal to 0. So I want to know where that point of inflection is and then draw a number line. Keep going. So what do you think? I think it's 12. So if I divide everything by 12, I get 3x squared minus, what is that, 8 and 2. Now I need to factor this. 3 times 2 and negative 8. Those two numbers are, what are they? Two numbers, what am I, two numbers that multiply to 6. Where did I make a mistake? Oh, this is where I picked the mistake. 2 times 24 is 48. So that this is 48. So if you divide, it's 4. This wasn't factorable. That's what was driving me crazy. So 3 times 4 is 12 and negative 8. Now what are the numbers that should fit? Are negative 6 and negative 2. Now I feel better. So one way to factor this, negative 6 and negative 2, that's not it yet. So we have negative 6 and negative 2. Then we take what the a value is, which is 3, and we divide both numbers by 3. So this is x minus 2, this is x minus 2/3, and then you get your two answers. So one answer is 2, and the other answer is 2/3. So on a number line, we have 2/3 and 2. Now into the second derivative, and we can use this for the second derivative. If I plug in like 0, it's a negative times a negative. And notice the multiplicity. Because it's odd, it's going to change signs all the way across. So I know that is a quick way that because we have odd multiplicity, they change. And so where is it concave down is between 2/3 and 2. So which answer says between 2/3 and 2? So the answer is E. All right, number 6. This is practicing everything. And that's the only way to do it. All right, integrate this. So what the hook? The derivative of 1/2 t is 1/2. So that's the correct hook. What it was over what it became. Ultimately, the 1/2 is already there. Let's be honest. So these are going to cross out and just be 1. The hook goes away. The rule for E is copy plus C. So the hook is 1/2. It's actually already there. So this is being silly. So the hook is 1/2. You can put it in front or here. Either way, it's there. So and the rule for E is to copy it, and that's it. So I see the answer is C. Number 7. Can you recognize when it's a simpler question or it takes a lot of steps? I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite it like this with the exponent there. So when I take the derivative, we're going to take the exponent and we're going to multiply in front. We're going to subtract 1 to the exponent and then the hook. So the derivative of cosine is negative sine. And then there's another hook. The derivative of x cubed is 3x squared. And then think, what answer has all of these parts? So if I multiply the number in front, 2 and negative 1 and 3, I'm looking for a negative 6. And then cosine and sine, and then x at the end. So if I put it together, you'd actually have negative 6x squared. And then you'd have cosine x cubed and sine x cubed. That's putting it all together. So it's multiple choice. So now when I look at that, negative 6x squared, sine and cosine can be in any order. So they put sine first. So I see the answer is D. All right, number 8. Sorry, goes to number 10. An equation of the line tangent to this. So you have y equals cosine 2x and x equals pi over 4. That means y, I'm going to plug pi over 4 in. So 2 times pi over 4 is pi over 2. Pi over 2 is the angle at the top of the unit circle. And the y-coordinate at the top is 1. Then I need to take the derivative of this, which is negative sine 2x times 2 the hook. And again, I need to plug in pi over 4. So I get negative 2 sine pi over 2. Oh, wait a second. Cosine pi over 2 is the y value right there. This one is 0. This one is going to be 1. But negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. All right. So the x-coordinate, the y-coordinate, and the slope. So we usually write y equals negative 2, x minus pi over 4. And then you go plus 0 and you don't really need it. But is there an answer that matches this? Negative 2 x. And I see it. And I see it matches with E. Number 12. At what point on the graph y equals 1/2 x squared is the tangent parallel? So we know that means the same slope. And then they give you an equation, 2x minus 4y equals 3. So I need to know the slope here. This is just a line. So I'm going to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 3, add 4y. So subtract 3, add 4y, divide. And all I care about is the slope. So when you divide by 4, what number is with x? And the slope is 1/2. Then I'm going to take the derivative, 2 times 1/2, and then subtract 1 to the exponent, and I'm going to make it equal to that slope, and I see the answer, x equals 1/2. So when x equals 1/2, the slopes are the same, and then what's the y-coordinate? Plug 1/2 into this equation. So that's 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. It ends up being 1/8. So the point is 1/2 and 1/8. I see the answer is B. All right, what's number 15 here? The graph here, let's see if we can just do it right here. The graph of function f is shown. Which of the following statements is true? So the limit as x approaches a is equal to the limit as x approaches b. So as x approaches b, the limit doesn't exist. So that's not true. So we're looking for which one's true. All right, the limit as x approaches a, the answer is 2. I like that one. The limit as x approaches b is 2. Nope, it doesn't exist. I want to make sure I did okay. The limit as x approaches b is 1. Nope, it doesn't exist. The limit as x approaches a does not exist. It does exist. The answer is 2, right? The answer from the left and right agree. Anyway, so the answer is B. I'll let you just write down B here. It's going to be okay. 17. X squared plus y squared equals 25. It says find the second derivative at 4, 3. So the first derivative, make sure we have to do it implicitly. So it's 2x and 2y, but it needs a y prime. We're going to subtract 2x and we're going to divide. So when I simplify it, the first derivative is just negative x over y. Now we need to do the next derivative. In fact, I'm going to take that derivative at 4, 3 and then plug in what that number is. So when I plug in 4 for x and 3 for y, it's negative 4 over 3. Okay. Next, I'm going to do the second derivative, which is the bottom times the derivative of the top, subtract the top, times the derivative of the bottom, and then the bottom squared. And then I'm going to plug in the numbers 4 and 3 and see what answer I get. And then I'm going to compare and see the multiple choice. So where there's a y, plug in 3. A negative times a negative is positive. X is 4. Here, what's y prime at 4? That's where this comes in. That's negative 4 over 3. And then y squared, 3 squared is 9. So let's see how far I get on this. Negative 3, negative 16 over 3 over 9. I need common denominators. So I'm going to go over 1, so 3. So negative 9 over 3, negative 16 over 3, and then 27 over 3. That'll just make life easier. So that's negative 25 over 27. That's what I get. See if I did it right. Compare. Is there a negative 25? There is. Yay. The answer is A. It's nice when you do the work and it matches, right? All right. 18. Nope. 19. So a function ln x squared minus 1. What's the derivative of that? Well, hopefully that's simple, right? So what you see over the derivative of what you see. And then the question is it the absolute value of that? Good question. Is it the absolute value of that? Or just that one? No, just that. So whether you have absolute value bars or not, it's the same answer. It's not, there's no bars around it. It is what it is. And so that means the answer is D. All right. For the next one, you need a calculator. So can you press pause and get a calculator? I got mine. All right, 76. Let's write down the question. And it says, what's the derivative of that? Now, I don't need a calculator for this one. So the ones you know that you need a calculator are the ones where the answers are like decimals like this. So if I look at the answer solutions and I see decimals, hey, that's a calculator one. If I don't see it, it's probably not a calculator one. This one's not a calculator one. This one is the quotient rule. What is it again? The bottom times the derivative of the top that has a hook minus the top times the derivative of the bottom and then the bottom squared, and think, okay, which one matches that? So this is 4x e to the 2x minus 2 e to the 2x, and this is 4x squared. Notice I can divide a 2 with each one. So every term you can divide a 2. That's 2x e to the 2x minus 1e to the 2x over 2x squared. So I just divided every number by 2. And now I'm looking. They might have factored. So if they factor out e to the 2x, you're left with 2x minus 1 over 2x squared. So if I take out an e to the 2x, that's what I'm left with. So I'm trying to compare to see, hey, does one of them match it? Okay, I see one now, and I think the answer is E. It is. Done. All right, next one, 79. Here, this is one we'll just do right in the book. Okay. Let f be a function, so you see this limit notation. Which of the following must be true? Is f continuous at 2? Is f differentiable at 2? And then which one of these is the answer? So if I look at it, this is the limit definition. This is the limit definition of a derivative. And so for that to be true at 2, it needs to be both continuous and differentiable for that to be the differential. So it's 1 and 2. So the answer for 79 is C. 80. If it's differentiable, it's continuous. Okay, this one's going to need a calculator. Do you see that? So we're given a function for what value of x is the slope of the line tangent to the graph here equal to 3. So in other words, I'm going to take the derivative equal to 3 and see what the x value is of that. Let's see if we can do that. Ready? So let's see if I'm fancy enough to do in one step. Let's do it together. So I know I'm taking the derivative equal to 3 and it's an equation. So menu, algebra, solve, and the equation. I'm going to do the derivative. So I'm going to go derivative right there, that derivative 1. And what am I taking the derivative of? 2e, not the one on the bottom, but on the left, e to the 4x squared. Be careful how you type. Equal to 3, comma x. So I'm taking the derivative and seeing where the derivative equal to 3 and solving. Control enter. I get 0.167. Let's see if that's right. Yep. So 0.167, or if you round, 0.168. And you can see the answer is, so this is what I'm going to write down. Sorry, for 79, you should just write down the answer C. But for 80, you should say what you did. So f at x equals 2e to the 4x squared. And you took the derivative of x equal to 3 and found the answer to be 0.168. So the answer is A. So you understood to take the derivative means slope. So you take the derivative equal to 3, solve the equation, and you have it. All right, 85. Again, it looks like a calculator question. The ones that need a calculator are pretty simple, I think, on the whole, because we have a good calculator to do this. As soon as I say it, it's going to be complicated, right? So the derivative of f is here. At which of the following value x does f have a relative maximum value? So to find a maximum n, we take the derivative equal to 0. So let's do that first. And for these, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to... All right, let's just do that. So let's solve the equation. So menu algebra, solve. And I'm going to take the derivative, what it told me it is, which is e to the x, subtract 3x squared. And I'm going to make it equal to 0 and solve it. These are the critical values. All right, so we have a bunch of answers here. So we have 3.7, 0.91, negative 0.45. So we have a few answers here. Oh, make sure I do it. Negative 0.459, 0.910, and then 3 point something. 3.733. Then you should plug in and evaluate it. So let's say I want to evaluate at a negative number, like negative 1. So if I want to use my calculator for that, I can type in, this is how you do it. You go e to the x, subtract 3x squared, and then we're going to press control and then equals. Can you do that for me? Control equals. And then find the vertical line, press enter, and then you can type in anything. And once it's set up, you can just do it over again. So let's say you want to know at negative 1. All I want to know is the answer positive or negative. So you can see the answer is negative. And then I'm going to do the same work and let's say plug in 0. I already know if I plug in 0, the answer is positive because e to the 0 is 1. Take away 0, it's 0. It's a positive value. But if we wanted to, just good practice, go highlight this, change that number to 0, go Control Enter, and you can see it's a positive value. And then the last two, plug in 1, and you get a negative answer. And then plug in 4, and you get a positive answer. And the question is, at which of the following does f have a relative maximum? So this is not. This goes down and then up. This one is a maximum. This is a minimum. So at what number is there a maximum? Where it rises and then falls? And the answer is at 0.910. What's that answer? 0.91. So the answer is C. So this is what we did. We took the derivative equal to 0. These were my answers, put it on the number line, and then saw which one was the maximum. 82. Not weird? Went down. So y equals, this is not a calculator one, is 2x subtract 8. Maybe we'll use a calculator. What's the minimum value of the product x times y? So what's the minimum value of x times y? So we're going to create a function of that. And then y is equal to 2x minus 8. So we need one variable. We're going to distribute. We're going to take the derivative of that, make it equal to 0, and solve it. So when I solve this, x is equal to 2. Make sure that's what we want. So if I plug in 1, if I plug in 3, that's a minimum. Is that what I'm looking for? Good. So it's a minimum. And so what is the minimum value? So x is 2, so then y would equal what? So plug in 2 times 2, take away 8. So 2 times 2, take away 8. And then you actually have to multiply it together. So 2 times negative 4, and you get the answer. So the question was, what is the minimum value? And so the answer is negative 8. So the answer is B. Make sure you're a good reader about it. All right, 83. Is this our last one? That'd be so sad. It's our last one. Here we go. I'm sad. I like doing these calculus questions. Does anyone else like just like practicing the calc? What is, I know. What's the area? So y equals cosine x. Y equals x and the y-axis. All right, so if I graph it, some of you realize that cosine starts here and it curves down, and it goes back up again. And then y equals x, there it is, and the y-axis. So this right here. So I can tell it's a calculator question. Why? Because all the answer choices are ugly, right? So I know it's an integration question. I know it's top subtract bottom. So it's cosine subtract x. That's top subtract bottom. What don't I know are the... So I know the left limit is 0, but I don't know this one. So I need to take my calculator and see if we can do it. So I'm going to graph this. So press that to graph. I have something there. I'm going to clear it. So I'm going to go menu actions and just delete it all. I'm going to start again. Press tab. I'm going to press cosine. So trig cosine x. I'm going to press tab and then y equals x, or just x. And then I want to know where they intersect. Now that actually happens to be a good window. So if you press menu and your window's off, these are the settings I used. So I went from 0 to pi over 2 and 0 to 2. So those are the window settings I used so that I see what I need. I just need to see where they cross. Then I can press menu, I can go analyze, and I can go point of intersection. So number 4, and I said what's the lower? So we're going to go to the left of that if it moves. going to press in 0. Right there. Okay. Well, finally, it did it. There. Okay. It was hesitating. Anyways, the point of intersection, it's 0.739. Do you see that? 0.739. So we're going to put that here. We'll actually let the calculator do it from the graph. 0.739. That's what we're doing. And so off the graph here, we're going to go menu. We're going to analyze, and we're going to find area bounded. So that's number 8. And then it goes from 0. So just type in 0. Press enter. And we're going to go to 0.739. So 0 to 0.739, and the answer is there. It's 0.400. That's the answer I got. So look, is the answer 0.400 there? It is. So the answer is C. That's it. I got no more. All right, Mr. G Math, over and out. Till next time. Good job doing your review.